Where does what we call reality end? And where does that abyss begin? The one even the bravest fear to gaze into. We live in our own cozy little world, firmly believing in the laws of physics and logic. But you only need to crack the door open just a little, and it all crumbles into dust. It leaves you alone with something that has no place in any human textbook. Try telling someone about it. The moment you start to speak, pity flashes in their eyes. They think you're overworked, or perhaps your imagination has simply run wild. So you fall silent, because you understand it's easier to be branded a madman than to try and prove that the darkness knows how to stare back at you. That secret now lives inside me, like a splinter. It reminds me every time the lights go out that the world is not at all what it seems at first glance, and that some doors are better left unopened. There are things you can choose to believe, or not, but they don't cease to exist. They are simply waiting with infinite patience for you to take that first step toward them. I would like to tell you a story that happened a long time ago in a village, a story my grandfather told me. After that incident, all the villagers moved away, and no one lives in that place anymore. For the sake of the narrative, I will tell this story in the first person. My village wasn't far from the city, but it was bordered by forest on 2 sides and a swamp on the 3rd. The village was quite large, about 60 houses, and nothing about it stood out. We had lived there peacefully for years, going about our business, bothering no one. But on one sweltering July day, an event occurred that completely changed the course of our lives. I was weeding the garden when I heard a shout echo through the whole village. "Alex drowned!" Naturally, I dropped everything and ran out to the street, where neighbors, just as curious as I was, were already gathering around a local man named Max, the one who had raised the alarm. "Where did he drown?" one of the locals asked. "In the swamp, near the rotting birch tree." "What were you even doing out there?" "We wanted to cut across. We didn't want to walk all the way around the edge. We were walking along and we reached a clearing. Alex just stepped onto it and instantly vanished, gone under. I hit the deck and shoved my hands into the hole. He was already gone, sucked straight to the bottom." "I see," another local said. "Well, folks, let's go see where Alex disappeared. Maybe we can find the body." God, I hate the swamps. They are treacherous places. You can walk the same path every single day, and nothing happens. But one day, you'll inevitably slip. And our swamp was terrifying even to approach. It was ancient. It existed long before the village ever did. They say the more people it claims, the more cunning it becomes.
As if it's learning how to lure people in! They also say Akakimora haunts our swamp, and if you fall in at night, there's a good chance she'll come and finish you off herself. I didn't believe in that, of course, but I knew one thing. If you walk the marshes, don't trust your eyes. They will deceive you. If you see a clearing, don't step on it. You'll likely sink. If you hear someone calling, don't go. You'll drown. Our swamp was constantly growing, too. If there was solid ground in a spot 2 years ago, now there was only muck. So, in a way, we weren't even surprised by Alex's death. It had happened before, and usually the swamp kept what it took. It rarely gave the bodies back. But they say those who drowned long ago walk the swamp at night, right in its center. Where the center was, I didn't know. It was too massive. And who in their right mind would trek into a place like that? It's unsafe enough on the edge. If you go deeper, you're never coming back. The 6 of us examined the spot where Alex sank, and naturally, we didn't find a body. We had a grim conversation. "Max, you were with him. You have to be the one to tell his wife." "I can't. It has to be someone. Someone has to tell her, and that someone is you." "How was I supposed to say it?" "Just tell the truth." It was heartbreaking to watch the widow. She sobbed for 2 days, wandering the village in tears. Then she vanished too. Whether she drowned herself or hanged herself somewhere in the woods, nobody knows. Like her husband, we never saw her body. All sorts of rumors started flying. Some said she couldn't bear the grief and left to start a new life. But who in their right mind listens to gossip? We grabbed some boards and boarded up their empty house so no one would go poking around. Who knew what really happened to her? Days turned into weeks, and everything seemed fine. Alex's case began to fade, and so did his wife's. If Alex's fate was somewhat clear, there was no sense in talking about the wife, since she never reappeared. But one morning, strange rumors crawled through the village. The local drunkard was going around convincing everyone that he had personally seen Alex, his wife, and everyone else who had ever vanished in that swamp at the edge of the marshes in the moonlight. He said they were calling him to join them, but naturally, he had refused. Some laughed, some were terrified, and others just listened with interest. I was no exception. I didn't believe him at first, but out of idle curiosity, I asked him to show me exactly where he had seen the dead. When we arrived, I didn't expect to see anything. But damn it, the spot he showed me was completely trampled. You know how it looks when a large crowd stomps around on a small patch of land? It was exactly like that. And beyond the trampled grass,
near the edge of the swamp, the entire ground was covered in some kind of pitch-black sludge that wouldn't dry. "What is this?" I asked the drunkard. "I don't know, but it looks like..." The black filth didn't look like anything else. It was darker than coal. The drunkard walked over to it and reached out to touch it. "Stop," I said. "Why?" "I don't know, just don't touch it. Who knows what it is?" "Come on, it's just swamp mud. I don't think it's dangerous." I stayed silent, watching as he took that viscous, foul-smelling slime and smeared it over his hand. "Well?" I asked. "Well," he replied, "it's black, stinking silt. I haven't seen anything like it before. But that's not what interests me." "And what does?" "Are you saying what I saw yesterday is true? Someone dragged this mud out here. And judging by the tracks, it came right out of the swamp, like something filthy crawled out." I felt uneasy. Truly, who in their right mind would haul mud out of a swamp onto the shore? But I just replied, "You need to drink less. The river's gonna bloom." He grunted something incoherent, and we headed back to the village. I spent the whole day deep in thought. Was I imagining it? Did he really see them? No, you'd have to be a complete idiot to believe a man who sees little people more often than real ones. But on the other hand, if you ignore his words, who could have been trampling the ground all night? There were so many footprints. And whose idea was it to haul out that mud? Speaking of the mud, I didn't like it. It was strange. And that idiot even touched it with his bare hands. Well, it's his problem. I need to be more careful if I have to walk past the swamp. Gossip is one thing, but something is definitely happening out there. The next day, toward noon, my neighbor told me that the very same drunkard had drowned in the swamp. And he didn't just do it normally. Toward evening, he had grabbed a man and said, "Let's go to the edge of the marsh. Let's see what's there." "What's there?" the man asked. "Someone is calling." Maybe he thought it was an emergency, someone drowning. He pushed the drunkard toward the swamp. They went into the thicket, a place where it's scary to go even in broad daylight. Now it was evening, and getting out in the dark seemed impossible. But someone was calling, and the man thought he had to help. Suddenly, the drunkard stopped abruptly and said, "Here." "What's here?" "Well, someone's calling." The man listened. There was dead silence in the swamp. He told the drunkard to stop drinking, but he didn't get the chance. "I'm going to take a look. Wait here." And he dove into the swamp. "He walked into the mud?" I asked. "What mud?" the neighbor asked. Well, remember he was talking about seeing the dead?" "Yeah, I remember. Well, let's just say there were strange things going on." And there was this strange mud, the stuff he was touching. "Deals with the devil," was all the neighbor replied. We talked for a while longer, and then went about our business. Kogo Cherti Nanich Glaya Previously, I thought, getting out of bed and walking to the door. "Who is it? Big Andrew? Open up, it's me!" "Alex? Alex, the one who vanished in the swamp?" "I didn't vanish anywhere. Open up, I'll tell you how it really went down."
I turned on the outdoor light and cracked the door open. There were two of them, the drunkard and Alex. They looked terrible. Razduteya pasinyevshia Allah, see in the shadow of that same filth, trying to smile. Well, are you gonna let us in? Alex said, and as he spoke, foul-smelling liquid poured from his mouth. No, I won't let you in, I said, my legs shaking uncontrollably. But why? We're friends. Come on, let's sit, have a drink, talk. I brought a bottle. He showed me a bottle filled with that same black sludge. No, I'm not drinking, and I'm not letting you in. Come on, what's wrong with you? Have you lost your mind? If you don't want to let us in, then come with us to the swamp. We'll celebrate everything there. My wife, Michael, who vanished 6 years ago. Well, anyway, why am I telling you all this? Let's go sit, talk. No, I can't. I have to be up early tomorrow. As I said it, I prayed my voice wouldn't crack and give away my terror. Well then, can I come closer to you? Why? And why do you keep asking for permission? I asked, perfectly well aware of why he was doing it. Well, so, can I? He repeated. No, I said, and slammed the door shut. I sat right on the floor, one thought spinning in my head. Evil spirits cannot enter unless you invite them or give them permission. I don't remember the exact rules, but apparently these ones couldn't enter. If that was true, then everything would be fine, as long as I didn't give them that permission. That night felt endless. I didn't sleep. I packed my things. I prepared to leave. In the morning, when I opened the door, I saw that the entire porch was covered in that same mud. And no, thought I, mud cannot be touched. If you touch it, the swamp will call for you one day. Walking through the village, I saw doors, windows, and gates standing wide open. As I later found out, many people had agreed to go with them that night, or had invited them into their homes, where they were forced to drink that foul liquid. And as far as I know, only 15 people from the entire village survived that night.